And so the comments really not a surprise, but more of a reassertion of the Fed's mandate to tackle inflation aggressively.
Yeah, maybe not a surprise, Yusuf, but certainly very hawkish. I mean, he's talking about several meetings where he will push for rate hikes of 50 basis points. Remember, the market's kind of set on June and July, and then kind of thinking that the Fed might start to slow things down a bit after that. But he's making it clear that the economy can withstand rate hikes. He pointed to the strength of the labour market, for example, in particular as a reason why the Fed needs a hike now, hike early, he says, while the economy can still take it, rather than leave it till later on. And he also cited market expectations for around 2.5 percentage points of rate hikes this year. He said he's in line with those kind of expectations. So I think it just goes to show you that there were those comments last week that maybe the Fed might take a pause and assess kind of stance later in the year to see where inflation is. But these comments from Mr. Waller make it clear that if inflation is not back to where it should be, back towards that 2% level, he'll still be gunning for those rate hikes, possibly in and around the 50 territory. And also remember, he wants to go above neutral, so he wants to see interest rates in a position where they are restricting economic growth.
Yeah, it certainly removes that whole concept of, well, certainly it chisels away the concept of a September or October pause. Look, the politicization is going to be manifest today for the Fed. Biden in the Oval Office with Jay Powell. We've got the highest inflation in decades. Is this a message to the average American or something more politicized?
Maybe a little bit of both, Manus. I mean, on the one hand, the Biden administration seems to have been more careful about not politicizing the Fed. Remember, during the last administration, President Trump was obviously very vocal in terms of what he thought the Fed should do. This administration seems to be taking a different tack. But I think two messages probably will come out of it. Number one, it probably will put another spotlight on the fact that the Biden administration is looking to pull every lever they can to try and get inflation back under control. And this will be seen as kind of a pressure of sorts on the central bank to do more. There's no doubt about it. Optically, that's how it will be viewed. But it will also raise question marks about what can be done to contain inflation. It shows to some extent how hapless the government might be in curbing some of these price pressures, and will just illustrate how much work needs to be done. One other takeaway I would say, Manus, is that there's kind of a growing view out there at the moment that central banks are again under pressure from their political masters, from governments. And when you see the Fed governor being called into the White House for a meeting like this, that will only stoke views that perhaps the halcyon era of central bank independence might actually be behind us.